What's cracking, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel and thank you all for tuning in. It's your boy Matty B, and today we're going to do our second part of our Lorettas preview, this time with the small bikes. Part 1 contained all the big bike classes and the video is on my channel, but today we're going to go over all the little bikes from the 50cc's, 65s, 85s, the girls. And speaking of the girls, we have a couple of young ladies who will actually be contenders against the boys in some of these mini bike classes. And some of these girls actually won their regional qualifiers in these classes against the boys, like Hannah Jameson in the Mini Senior 2 class, Racing Kyler in the 65 10-11 and 10-11 limited classes, and she was even one of the select few chosen to go represent Team USA at the Junior World Championships in France. And then we've got a young lady, Yumina Burning, in the 65 7-9 class. But back into all the classes we got the Super Minis, and of course, a favorite of my own, the 125 schoolboy classes. And this year, I've been back dabbling a little bit in the amateur scene, but I definitely have not been as deep into it as I have been in years past. So if your name's not on this list, or if you have a rider that's not on this list, just let me know in the comments. And I don't know everything, I'm just a dude with a YouTube and a phone. So if I don't include you, prove me wrong, you got no choice. But we have got a bunch of ultra stacked mini bike classes for this year's rendition of the Lorettas Amateur National, and before I get into all those classes, I gotta start out on a bit of a somber note. The 22 and the 22 Junior, Chad and Tate Reed, will no longer be participating in Lorettas this year. Tate had an untimely crash at Club MX the other day, actually the exact day that I posted the video where I said Chad and Tate would be racing, but he broke his collarbone, he's out, and so is Chad, so get well soon to Tate, and I am so bummed we don't get to see the double deuce at the ranch. But hopefully he'll be back to try his hand at Lorettas another year, and we still got tons of riders. It's going to be a banger. Let's get into it. We're going to go in descending order from bike size, starting with the bigger bikes, the 125s, Schoolboy 1 and 125 BC, 12 to 17, different class names, but they're basically the same thing. And these classes kind of aren't what they once were because most of the manufacturers are no longer making 125s, so gone are the days where everybody moves up and goes directly to the 125 class. A lot of guys go directly to 250s, but there are still some big talents in this lineup. Starting with the number 5, if you got a single digit, you're a force to be reckoned with, and that is Alessandro Carminati. He is actually from Mexico. I watched him in this class last year. He got a moto win and was super impressive. We got Yamaha support rider Colby Lassar, who was also good in this class last year. Kane Bolasina, Caden West, Cannon Hargrove, who led the majority of the first Schoolboy Moto of the Week last year at Lorettas. My boy Braxton Mess, who's moved up to the 125 early. I used to train him back when he was on a 50, and ever since he moved back to California and stopped training with me, the sky's been the limit. Do with that info what you will. Fresh off representing Team USA in France at the Junior World Championship, we've got Tristan Pruitt and Brady Olson, and then Benjamin Moya, Dannon Reed, Christian Humphrey, Tanner Dorman's had a good year, son of Andrew Short, Turd, Hudson Short, and then last but not least, my boy is qualified for I think 6 or 9 classes but decided to race the 125s, Kevin DePino. Now onto the Super Mini 1 12 to 15 and Super Mini 2 13 to 16 classes. Big wheeled 85s with 105 to 112cc motors. This class is an expensive national. And first up on the list, not necessarily a contender with all due respect, but I just wanted to give a big shout out to Beckett Ferry, son of Tim Ferry. He hasn't made Lorettas since he was on a PW50. He was trying to make it in the C class, and he couldn't quite cut the mustard in that, but he qualifies in Super Mini. Awesome job, Beckett. Then we've got the top finishing 85 rider from Team USA at the Junior World Championships, Gage Brown, Austin Webb, who is 6'12" on a Super Mini. Dane Pappas and Reese Seba both won championships in the mini senior classes last year, and they are definitely looking to be favorites in Super Mini this year. Nolan Ford is an absolute machine at Lorettas. Colt 47, Colt Martin. I don't know much about Cash Anderson, but he had an awesome performance at his regional. Darren Pine won the first moto of Super Mini last year at Lorettas, but then went out with injury. He's looking good to be one of the favorites as well. Son of T-Dags, Talon Medaglia, Brody Pacheco, and then the 96 of Chase DeShiel. He's a past Lorettas champion as well, and this Super Mini class is full of talent. Next, onto the Mini Senior 1 12 to 14 and Mini Senior 2 13 to 15 classes. And this age group has changed a lot over the years. Back when I was younger, it started out as 85 12 to 13, then moved to 12 to 14. Now we've got 12 to 14 and 13 to 15. But these are always stacked classes because usually almost everybody in these age groups is going to be racing these classes. And in this lineup, we got Yamaha's Cooper Johnson, Colin Hallbrook, who I don't know if he'll be a contender or not, but I had to throw him a shout out because he qualified on an RM85, antique legend. Alex Campili, Brayton Craiglow, Easton Graves should be one of the favorites as he's racked up tons of championships in the last year. Then we got Timmy Scott, younger brother of Enzo Temmerman, Maddox Temmerman, Elliot Boucher, Minnie T-Dags is back, and then this will be an intriguing one. Hannah Jameson, girls versus boys. Hannah actually won her regional against all the boys, and I've seen her smoke the boys several times this year, so I'm really excited to see how she fits in at the ranch. Jackson Vick's going to be another one of the top dogs, and then Easton Kirby, and last but not least, Tace Morgan. He was on fire at his regional. I got to watch him ride at south of the border, and this kid's got some serious skill. Now we'll move on down to the 85 10-12 and 85 10-12 limited classes. And limited, that's just what we used to call stock back in the day. And these age groups have also changed quite a bit over the years. Used to be 7-11 back in the day, then it changed to 9-11, and now it's 10-12. And then in these age groups, you kind of have the option to race an 85 or a 65, but by the time you get up there in the age group, the 65 is kind of on the small side for most kids. But in this one, we got Sawyer Geek, Carter Gray, and I'm not sure if there are any illicit jumps at Loretta Lynn's, but he doesn't care, he'll jump them anyway. Beckham Smith, it's not Helen Keller, it's Austin Keller, Aiden Steinbrecher, Nolan Cobb, my boy from Colombia, Martin Ospina, Joey Vicari, Gavin Welzine, Jaden Smart, who is a pretty next level talent. I used to watch this kid throw scrubs and whips on Instagram when he was about 6 years old. Chase Brennan, who's doing it for the RM Army. Heavyweight Bam Bam, Kaiki DePino, who had to run the 52 instead of the 51. Cade Nightingale, Landon Lee, my guy Anderson Waddell, who rode about 600 motos at his regional between the 65 and the 85. He chose the 85. And then last but not least, Waylon Ballinger. He was on fire at the regional, could hardly be stopped, and I'm thinking he's got to have some pretty good chances at being a contender. Now, we'll switch gears a little bit and go over the girls 11-16 class, and full disclosure, I don't really have my finger on the pulse of this one like I do some of these other classes, but I tried to do a little bit of research of what went down at the regionals, and in this one, we've got Tinley McCoy, Kylie Hayes, Madison Casimir, Callie Sutton, Reagan Heighton, and then I think the battle for the championship is going to be a face-off between two Colorado natives, Hannah Jameson and Mila Herrick. Mila Herrick is a couple years older than Hannah, but she's also moved up to the big bike now and is going between small and big bikes. And on top of that, Hannah Jameson's been picking up a bunch of steam as the year has gone on, so I think we should be set up for a really good battle between the two, and I'll be looking forward to watching it because those two girls are legends. Now, on to the 65 10-11 and 65 10-11 limited classes. And like I said, at this age, you kind of have the choice between the 65 and the 85, and if you're in that 11-year-old age group, but you're still small enough to race the 65, it's a really good chance to nab a championship. When we were 11, me and my boy Jordan Smith tried to stay down for a championship in these classes. Neither one of us got it done, but this class was my peak. I managed to get a P2. And in this one, we got the Colombian Martin Ospina, Luke Shelton, my boy JV from Brazil, Beckham Smith, Absher Hall, Levi Geis, fresh off a podium at the FIM Junior World Championship, along with Cannon Zabanik, fresh off a win at the Junior World Championship, Levi Letty, son of Casey Hinson, Talon Hinson, the female badass Racing Kyler, who won both of these classes at the Southeast Regional, which was the first regional, I might add. My dude Braden Paxton, who's making his first ever trip to Loretta Lynn's. He's been working hard at south of the border this year, and hard work pays off. And then the 99 of Jax Baker. Now we'll drop down to the 65 7-9 and 65 7-9 limited classes, and this is an age group where every kid aged 7 to 9 is going to be on a 65, unless they're young enough to still be on a 50, in which case they might just race both, which we have a few of these kids doing. But in this one, we got the number 5 of Tate Brush, and if you're coming back with a single digit that you earned as a younger kid in the age group, then you're a force to be reckoned with. Then we got Boone Lloyd, he's a younger one in the age group, Young Lady Ripper, Yumina Burning, Gunnar Lusk, who can only see out of one eye but has zero choice, Levi Meyer, he was really good at the regional and should be a favorite. Another one of the would-be favorites would have been Talon Rogers, but just yesterday he had an incident in training and will be out for Loretta's. Jarrett Tincher, Shannon Tarnow, the 69, that number is fine, Mickey Fluhart, another one of the 8-year-olds. I think the overwhelming favorite is probably the 72 of Jet Rao, Cameron Buckman, another one of the 8-year-olds who is right in the mix with all the top 9-year-olds at his regional. And who may be even more impressive is Ezra Armbruster. He is actually an AMA 7-year-old who qualified in the 65 7-9 class. I don't know if I've seen anybody do that since Adam Cianciarulo. My boy Grant Woodring makes it to Lorettas for his first time ever. And then last but not least, the 96 of Riker Fitch, who is the son of Colorado legend Bobby Fitch. Now we're all the way down to the 50cc 7-8 division, and I got bad memories of this class because when I raced it, I led the entire first moto until the last lap when my bike broke, DNF National, and that would only condition me for what was to come for the rest of my racing days. But in this class, I've got to be missing some heavy hitters because I really don't know many of these kids, but we got Boone Lloyd, he should be one of the favorites. Caden Wood got a win at his regional over Bryson Smith. My buddy Deacon Thomas, who's a local boy here in Virginia. Edwin Meyer, he was another one of the regional winners. Colton Tubbs, I've seen him at a few qualifiers this year and he's riding good. Mickey Fluhart, who's really looking for a championship. He doesn't want to head up to the attic at 5 a.m. to do HVAC with his dad and Rod Bell. Ezra Armbruster, who I think is actually also looking to be one of the favorites, even as one of the young guns in the age group. And then last but not least, I'm not even going to try to say this name, so I'm just going to say Jason Canada, because that's where he's from. And then all the way down to the youngest age group at Lorettas, the 54-6 class. And as they get younger, my knowledge about these kids gets less and less, but in this one, we got Maximus Bo Tucker, Wade Lloyd, Rivers Rice, who is very good at the regional and challenged, who I think is going to be the favorite, Ryden Williams, and then my buddy Maverick Duffy, who's done a little bit of training with me this summer. So if he does what I say and not what I do, I think we got a shot. And in this class, along with the last one I'm going to do, I know I'm missing a lot of names, and there's probably plenty of contenders that I have no clue who you are. And guys, I'm sorry, I'm not perfect, but I'm doing my best. Last but not least, this class has not been around for too long, the Micro E 4-7 class, or as I like to call it, the Electrocution National, powered by Duracell. And with this class being for ages 4 to 7, it's a great opportunity for the 7-year-olds who are on the younger side of the age group in the 57-8 class. And I really don't know almost anybody in it, but we got Wyatt Tedesco, who I have confirmed is not Ivan. And then we got one of the descendants of the legendary Keelan family, Rowdy Keelan, my buddy Easton Owen, who's one of the locals that lives right by me, and then who I'm thinking should definitely be the favorite, Robert Fender. To the PW50 class, I'm sorry, but I don't know a single one of you, so I'm going to have to decline to feature it. But good luck at the ranch. That's all I got for you guys today. And as always, please let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you enjoyed this info, if I'm missing any contenders, or if I hit the mark, or even if you just want to hate or complain about how I talk, you know I'm here for all of it. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks again, and I hope you guys are getting ready for some exciting racing at the ranch in a week and a half.